according to police. Jesse Randall Davidson taken into custody. The police say he snuck a .38 Special snub-nose revolver onto school grounds in his computer case. No students were hurt. Police say Mr. Davidson was the only person in the classroom. Sean Hannity Show weekdays from 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk, 92.7 News, now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now. The Tyner Rams secured a state sectional game for the 7th time in the past 10 seasons with a 76-62 win over host Red Bank to earn their title slot, while Signal Mountain rallied from a 15-point deficit and won at the buzzer in overtime to slip past Sweetwater. Those two teams will tip off at Red Bank tonight with a rematch of the District 6 AA Championship bout, which the Eagles won last week at Howard. Winner will host a state sectional on Monday, while the loser will travel to the winner of Livingston Academy and Upperman. After serving 4 successful seasons as the varsity basketball coach at McCauley School, John Shulman has decided to step away from coaching to pursue other opportunities in basketball and spend more time with the family. Shulman will not be taking another coaching position, but will look for new challenges. University of Tennessee at Chattanooga senior 184-pounder Bryce Carr is the Southern Conference Wrestler of the Year. The league office announced on Wednesday. Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now.
The Tennessee Valley's News Talk leader, Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Expect fair to partly cloudy skies to continue through your nighttime. Cold overnight, lows mid and upper 20s. Now for your Wednesday, look for some sunshine with a breeze out of the north, though. Light cold highs up around 40 with more mainly dry and cold weather expected through Friday. Celebrate the new year with Dixieland Fireworks. Locally owned with the largest selection around. A black hat dealer with the lowest prices in Dixie. Dixieland Fireworks, just off I-75 on Ringgold Road, East Ridge. And I'm Storm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
Nooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree? Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM and 95.3 HD4. News Talk Nooga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nooga Radio, 92.7 Sports Now.
Well, as you can tell, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, it's got to be Thursday night, and it's got to be Chattanooga Eagles discussion. The birds are flying high, especially after everything that happened on Saturday night, and it wasn't even on a full moon, and they weren't at the Hamilton Place Mall either. So, it was a very interesting evening for a lot of things. And, of course, the Eagles were trying to do some fine-tuning with their team as well as the Dalton Danger, and ended up being a game that was suspended, even though it was only an exhibition game. But we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the revamped positioning in the standing as far as with the division, with the Extreme West Division. You got an old nemesis back in your division with Huntsville. So that will always bring up good rivalry situations there with the Rockets. With me to my immediate left, if you're looking at the screen, is Hayden Clark. He's the head coach. And then to the left of him is the team general manager in Nick LaFew. I always love picking on Nick. He's just a great guy. Both of them are good guys to chat with and everything. But Coach Clark, we'll start with you. We'll spare Nick for a little bit later.
Just a little while.
But what were some of the positives out of Saturday's game facing the Dalton Danger?
For the game, like you said, I got suspended due to a couple unfortunate circumstances. But, I honest to God, I saw a lot of positives. I really did. Stepped in. We had another quarterback step in, produce. So we actually got to rotate 2 of those guys. Unfortunately, one of those guys is probably done for the season. I thought the receivers did a really good job. We had one guy step up and make a really big play for us out there. And the defense, they did what they were supposed to do. They didn't allow a touchdown all night. So I was very proud of them. I think a point where they're going to have to improve is definitely, we got to get a pass rush. we were kind of limited there the other night. I don't think we put much pressure on the quarterback, but I thought on the defensive side, I thought they did a really good job.
The one thing that Keon Rose and I were talking about during the broadcast, and even after the game was suspended, was the one fact that Zach McCarter really had the defense really shining for the most part of the game. Yeah, the offense had its struggles early on and everything, and then when the horse collar happened, and then later on when the game got suspended there because of the concussion that was suffered by Kobe Copeland. But the defense, the first two series, they were a little rough, but after that, it just seems like the defense was really clicking.
Yeah, like I said, the defense has been our backbone since we've started. I don't really think they played rough. I don't think they started rough. I think the offense put them in some really bad positions.
Right. Yeah.
We had two very, very, very unfortunate turnovers backed up inside of our own 30. So we put those guys in tough spots. I think they ended up coming away with 9 points in both of those. So, I mean, to come away like that, you can't ask for much more out of your defense from what they did there. So I was really pleased with how they handled things. It's adversity, like what we talk about all the time. Adversity hit, and they rose to the occasion. So I was really excited to see that.
Now, the offensive play calling was a little suspect. I wonder who was making those calls.
I'll take all the blame for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll take the blame for that.
Yeah.
They did what they could. We have a couple of spots on the offensive line we got to shore up.
It seemed like on the right-hand side of your offensive line, there was a lot of weakness. I mean, where there were holes, literally. It was almost like you didn't have a guy in position there.
Yeah, those guys, the right side of our offensive line, this is their first year with us. Left side held it down all last year. So once that right side gets shored up, once they get that connection, they'll be all right over there. I'm not worried about them. Obviously, they're going to have to step up because we're going to ride or die with the offensive line. But, those guys will get it together. I'm not too worried about them.
Now, your running game with, I believe it was number 7, and I'm trying to remember his name.
Robbie.
Yeah. He seemed like, once he was able to find that hole, he was like off to the races. It's like, why aren't we doing this? And then when you guys finally got your passing game going, it was like, okay, all right, this is going to be a real game here. I mean, you were hooking up there with number 12 on numerous occasions. And then number 13 was another receiver that you had out there that, had made some impressive catches. But it just seemed like every time Dalton tried to get their running game going, it didn't really come together until like in the second half. Yeah. But they had the passing down pretty good in the first half. And it was almost like both teams just kind of a reverse. Yeah.
I think you could definitely tell if you're at the game or if you're watching it, listen to it whatever you were doing that night. I think you could definitely tell it was a preseason game. Both teams, they
were rough. Both of them.
Both teams, they made a lot of mistakes. I talked with a couple of their coaches at the end of the game as well. But, there's a couple of things that didn't go our way. One thing, especially for us, that we harp on all the time is turnovers. I think we turned the football over, 3 times?
3. Yeah.
And that's something we just, we don't do that. If we turn the ball over, we put our defense in a bad spot. So it's just a couple things we got to shore up. A couple of them can't put the ball on the ground, can't throw interceptions, all that good stuff. But they're going to be all right.
The other thing that kind of made an impression on Keon and myself was we were watching in the pregame warm-ups with their kicker. I mean, kicked a 50 and a 60-yarder and realized there was no pressure or anything. But it was like when it was the game time, he couldn't even hit the 30-yarder. And it was like going to the left, or the one just got over the bar. Yeah. And it was like, okay, this is not like what we were seeing, But our special teams and everything, not really. I mean, we can't really compare apples to apples on that one.
Yeah, they got the luxury of a kicking game, especially at least inside the 20. They're usually pretty sure of 3 points. I think we do have a guy this year that's going to be around that same, if not better, for us. I think we're going to be able to take some field goal attempts and kick extra points, which is going to help us out. At the time of that game, we just didn't have the opportunity to practice it like we wanted to. He was raring to go, ready on the sideline. He was like, "Coach, let me kick the field goal. Let me kick." And I'm like, we got to practice, man. Just relax. We still have 2 months until season. So, he's itching to get out there. I'm excited to let him, do his thing out there. But for the most part, I mean, us not practicing special teams, you couldn't look at it and tell we didn't practice them. I thought they did a pretty good job, other than that one punt where things just kind of fell apart. But other than that, I thought I was pretty impressed with special teams for the most part.
There on the one punt return, you had one of your secondary guys on defense that was bringing the punt back and brought it back like 30-something yards. Yeah. And it was like, why haven't we seen him on the offense a little bit more?
Yeah, he gives me a hard time about that too. He's always yelling at me from the side, like, Coach, let me get out there. I'm like, oh, dude, relax, buddy, relax.
It's just because McCarter gets greedy and keeps him in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, I'll blame McCarter.
But I'm telling you, I mean, he's got the speed.
He can fly.
I mean, he had the afterburners on.
He completely changed the game last year.
He had a punt return for a touchdown.
It was a kickoff return.
Oh, it was a kickoff.
It was a kickoff return. I think it was actually against Huntsville. Where we had just went down. I think he actually had gotten beat.
He did
for us to go down.
Take him out of the ball game.
And we were all yelling like, "How do you get beat like that in quarters?" But he came back, returned the kickoff, and everything was good. So he
made up for it.
Yeah, he's a playmaker for us. He's Sadiq. He's wears number 2 this year, I believe it is, and he's a playmaker. He's fun to watch.
Yeah. All right, let's switch gears here and go over to Nick LaFew. Nick, for the most part, I think you were pleased with the attendance that we saw there at the stadium there at Chattanooga Central. You had a little bit of merchandise that you had there to get people in their Eagles garb and everything, and you had some pretty good concessions from what I understand as well. From the operational and logistics side, I mean, what's your thoughts on it?
I thought, for a preseason game and the first one of the year, I thought it ran pretty smooth. There wasn't many hiccups at all. We had a great showing with our fan base. I was very proud for a preseason game in February where you never know how the weather's going to be.
Right.
Goodness, if we had played the full game, we would have gotten drenched.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty awesome to be able to see all those fans there in February. Again, you don't know what the weather's going to be like, and with college basketball still going on, people starting to still watch that. So, it was a good crowd. Hoping for those to continue and get bigger.
What would you do differently?
I think you kind of the big thing that I was very frustrated with myself with was the fact that we didn't have a lot of music pregame, and that was on me. And I was running around, and not to make an excuse, but I was running around and didn't even think about putting music on until he texted me. I was like, "Hey, can we get some music?" And I was like, "Whoops." So that was an issue. But I think, you work kinks out as it goes. We'll have more staff as the season goes along too. We had a couple people who couldn't be there for a preseason game. So everything will go a lot more smooth, and hopefully, me and Tommy won't have to run around like chickens all day. So
yeah. All right. If you got a question or a comment, we'll give you the phone number to call in. It's 423-800-8949, 423-800-8949. And call in here on Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. We've got Hayden Clark and Nick LaFew from the Chattanooga Eagles. And, of course, if you want to, you can also send a question in via Facebook Live. We have various viewers that are checking in and saying that they're watching or whatever, but you can also pose a question that way as well. Coach Clark, out of that game, the offensive line we talked about, a little bit suspect there, especially on the right-hand side of the line. But were there other areas, just talking offense right now, that where you would like to try to make some improvements? And now that you have some time between now and April 21st, before that last exhibition game, to try to hone in and target some things?
Yeah, we got to clear up the running game. The offensive line struggled at times, but not all of that was on them. There's a lot of misreads, a lot of sense of insecurity, running the football. And a lot of that come from, we've been in pads for 3 weeks, but a lot of it just came from them just not really being in the right spot at the right time. There were some holes there that weren't taken advantage of. So they're going to have to learn how to stick their foot in the ground and get vertical, get me 3 or 4, when nothing's there. One of the other things I was disappointed in was the drop passes.
Yeah.
We had a couple big time drop passes from our receivers that they don't do. Those guys are as sure hand as they come, and they just, the moment wasn't too big. That had nothing to do with it. I think it was a little bit of nerves. Everybody wants to go out there and make that play. everybody wants to be the one to look at me. I just made an 80-yard play,
right?
You know, but once they get in the gist of things, they're gonna hone that down. You know, they're gonna do what they're supposed to do. So I expect for those two, I expect those two things to be cleared up. And once they do, I think we're going to be extremely dangerous.
All right. Now with is it Hunter Moore and then Colby Copeland? They both got injured in the game there on Saturday night. Do you feel like between now and the 21st of April that you'll be able to get Copeland back?
I think Copeland, he'll probably be back. He's going to sit out the whole month of March. Unfortunately, I don't really know much about Hunter. I do know that he broke his ankle in 2 different places. Possible surgery. Should know here in the next couple of days. So, you know, hopefully, you hate seeing that. You hate seeing those type of injuries with these guys, especially just they're not getting paid. They're coming out here doing it for the love of the game. So it's tough to watch that kind of stuff happen to such great guys. And I mean, those two are probably two of the most stand-up guys we have on the team. So it was a really big, you know, little nerve pinch there for us. So I'm hoping that, you know, that'll light a little fire too. So we'll see how our team responds to that.
Now, are you going to be able to go out and try to find a backup for Copeland?
We have two more quarterbacks that will be on the roster. So one actually played a few games for us last year. Started out 4-1. So he's fully capable. And then the other guy hasn't played a snap under center for us, but he's very capable. I know he played the position in high school. So he's very capable. A lot of that stuff's just going to be learning the system, especially for that guy. So I think we have two very capable backups to step in. That just it's going to make it two people step up at receiving core. So,
all right, let's switch gears and go to the other side, the defensive side, the one side of the ball that actually did well.
Actually did something, yeah.
You might want to take some notes from Zach. I'm sure he's listening and probably gloating.
Very, very much.
Well, what do you see, talking with Zach, maybe some things that you need to work on the defensive side?
Yeah, well, Zach is actually our DB coach, our defensive coordinator. He doesn't get a lot of love, but he does a great job over there. I think the biggest thing they're going to have to focus on is that pass rush. I think once they get that, the linebackers fly around, they play fast. The DBs are getting the hang of all the coverages. The one thing that scares me to death standing over there watching is sometimes our safeties get sucked in up there. They play about 8 to 9 yards. I know McCarter is very aggressive. I know he likes having those safeties down in the box, but if I'm an offensive coordinator, when those safeties start coming up for that run, it's about time to play action and take a shot. So I would like to see our safeties back up a little bit more, let our LBs and our D-line, play the run more. But I think once we figure out we have that 1 or 2 pass rushers that can go get after the quarterback, I think we're going to be really strong.
The one thing that I noticed in the game Saturday night, and you may have seen this as well, every time they'd line up either 3 on one side, 1 on the other, they were always running the ball. Yeah. And it's like when they had 1 or 2 receivers, then they ended up passing. And it was almost a given every time that you watched, them in formation and everything. With us, with the Eagles, if you're doing duels on both sides, it's like, you're passing.
It was pretty. I'm not gonna sit there and say it was predictable, but they gave a lot of things away. We knew. Especially when they gave us that trips look over there. We knew that they were either going to run the football or they're going to try and take a shot over there one-on-one with that, that one solo receiver side. So we had a pretty good game plan, especially on that side of the football for them. Our guys adapted well. I think they picked it up probably quicker than we did, to be honest with you. They were coming to the sideline saying, "Hey, coach, when they do this," I'm like, "Yeah, we know. We're going to get them. It's fun." So, that's one of the most fun things about our job. Watching those guys pick stuff up and bring it to us on the sideline. I love watching that. I love watching the guys learn. So that, the whole process, it was just a really fun night.
The one thing, once the defense finally figured out the formula, I guess you could say, as far as coverage on the receivers and stuff, I mean, you were all over them like, flies, on poop, literally, trying to keep the clean version. But, it was good to see. I mean, the defense really handled themselves very well. And it got to be very predictable. And it was like you guys picked up on it pretty good. But like I said earlier, the running game that you've got, I was surprised that you didn't try to run a little bit more than what you did. because your guy in the backfield there with Moore initially was actually getting some good runs.
Yeah. We just like to spread the ball around. That's all it was. We got a couple times where we would bust that 5 to 7 yard run, which is great. But then I got really mad when we put the ball on the ground. If you put the ball on the ground, you're going to be very lucky to see the field or get another touch the rest of the night. That guy's been with me for 3 years, so he knows what he did. He knows why he came to the sideline. But once those guys get in the full rotation of what's going on, and of course I don't want to pound them with 20 carries in a preseason game either. So I mean, he can speak for us. If we find something that's working, we're not going away from it.
Right.
Yeah. But in games like this where you need to learn what you got. We had a lot of new guys stepping in. We had a new running back there. A couple new guys got some carries. So I was really pleased at what we found out about our team.
I know Nick is just wanting to say something. He's got that look.
I don't know that I want to say anything other than the fact that last year when I coached running backs, we had one fumble all year. So
yeah, that is true. That is true.
So
that is true.
Just
one, I guess.
Normally we're getting the jabs in on him. Now tonight you're getting it from both sides.
That's because I had a bad night on the offensive side. I get it. I can take it.
And if Zach was here, he'd really be pounding it on.
Yeah, he'd be all in it too. That's why we didn't invite him tonight.
Okay. Now your next scrimmage or exhibition game is going to be over at East Ridge with the Tennessee Cobras.
Yes,
that's coming up April 21st. Do you feel like that having all this off time, whereas Dalton, they already had a couple of preseason games in before they played you last Saturday night. Do you feel like that's going to make a difference?
We're giving our guys this week off, completely off. Don't even think about football this week, and then we'll get back in the swing of things next week. I think, especially at this level where you got to have that downtime. It's good to get, regenerated, get healthy, all that good stuff. So we give them this week off, and then we're going to hit it full force next week. I think coming in April 21st, you're going to see a really hot team. I really do. I think it'll be a completely different game from what we played last Saturday. I think things will be clicking a lot better. I think people will have an understanding of how game day works. That was another thing that, people just didn't really understand. It was new to everybody this year that joined, right. So getting in the full, just the full motion of finding out how we do things on game day. It was good though. It was really good. So I look forward to April 21st.
It was a good practice run.
It was a very good practice run. Very good practice run against a good football team.
Nick, you got a chance here. Last words.
I thought Saturday, aside from a couple of things on the field, went really well. I thought the football team played well, and I thought the fans were great.
All right. Hayden Clark and Nick LaFew from Chattanooga Eagles, they will be on with us every Thursday night. And then, of course, when the season gets underway with April 28th, we'll have the next game from over at East Ridge on the 21st, and we'll be there to broadcast. It gives us a little practice run as well, and this will be on us this time. All right? We'll be back with more Sports Talk with Sam Jordan coming up after the break.
2, 1. Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's News Now.
Jonathan E. Walker found guilty of criminally negligent homicide in the deaths of 6 children in the deadly Tally Road crash, the Woodmore bus crash case. Walker's sentencing hearing will be November the 24th at 9 a.m. The defense called a witness who said Walker was not using a phone during the crash. Nooga Radio's David Tulis was in the courtroom.
But the jury did not accept that, was not persuaded by that, and he was found guilty of using his phone while on the job as a driver.
Terror in Dalton as the high school was placed on lockdown as a teacher shot a gun out a window, according to police. Jesse Randall Davidson taken into custody. The police say he snuck a .38 special snub-nosed revolver onto school grounds in his computer case. No students were hurt. Police say Mr. Davidson was the only person in the classroom. Sean Hannity Show weekdays from 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 News Now.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Expect fair to partly cloudy skies to continue through your nighttime. Cold overnight, lows mid and upper 20s. Now for your Wednesday, look for some sunshine with a breeze out of the north, though. Light cold, highs up around 40 with more mainly dry and cold weather expected through Friday. Celebrate the new year with Dixieland Fireworks, locally owned with the largest selection around. A Black Hat dealer with the lowest prices in Dixie. Dixieland Fireworks, just off I-75 on Ringgold Road, East Ridge. And I'm Storm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
J.R. Masonry in Chattanooga salutes the men and women of our armed forces. Let's remember them by continuing to donate blood for our returning injured military. Be a silent hero and give blood today. This reminder is from J.R. Masonry in Chattanooga. Family owned and operated for anything stone and all your masonry work. Call J.R. Masonry at 423-829-0355. They're on the air reminding everyone that we live in the land of the free thanks to the brave.
Oh, man, rush. I've got to get stuff for the party. Where can I go that's going to give me a wide selection of beer, wines, and spirits? Oh, I've got it. I'll go to Harry's Wine and Spirits, Signal Mountain. Maybe East Brainerd Wine and Spirits in East Brainerd. I could go to Riley's Wines and Spirits in Hickson. Wow, look at the huge selection in here. Look at these great prices. Amazing. Oh, yeah, I'm going to find something for my lady, too. I'm going to make this party a success.
Make your party a success when you stop in at Harry's Wine and Spirits in Signal Mountain, East Brainerd Wine and Spirits in East Brainerd, and Riley's Wine and Spirits in Hickson.
Mom's Stew Pot, her exercise bike, her bookcase of cheap novels, Mom's estate. Oh, just call Dan. He'll sort, organize, clear out, tag, sell, and in a few days, hand you a nice check. 314-4034. 314-4034.
In this moment, who has your back? Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you with whom? Another state? Another country? Get a local independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when bad stuff happens. In this moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Let Goss Insurance in Chattanooga help you today. GossInsurance.wordpress.com. Goss, representing Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people. GossInsurance.com. Goss. GossInsurance.com. Representing Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people. 875-2500. 875-2500. Want a business phone system that gives you Outlook integration, Salesforce integration, smartphone integration? Why desk sets and expensive lines? Turn smartphones into a cohesive business system. Call Signal 619-1200. Signal Voice and Data 619-1200.
Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree? Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM and 95.3 HD4. News Talk Nooga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nooga Radio, 92.7 Sports Now.
Welcome back. It's Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. Glad to be with you here on this Thursday night. Don't forget, coming up here in just a little bit, we've got two millennials talking. And that will be with Keon Rose and Russell Stroud. Russell's been here all day. He's been busy in the newsroom because of the news developments happening around 5:30 or so with the Jonathan E. Walker trial. So he's had a busy day today. And that's just one of the many great things that Russell does around here at the radio station. He tries to get you all the latest information that's happening out there. And even if he's left and went home for the day, he's still scouring and trying to find, the latest news updates. But he is here, him and Keon. Keon actually was ready to go for 3 hours tonight because we were looking at being out of town, Russell and I, on station business because we have other things that we do here at the station. And Keon was ready to go for 3 hours with my show and two millennials talking. And but we didn't have to worry about that. So that was a good thing. But Keon and Russell will have a great show for you coming up here in just a little bit. But high school basketball going on still with playoffs and everything. Let me switch gears here after talking football. Yes, football is in the region.
And with that, Chattanooga Eagles really looking at having a great season. And we'll talk about those guys every week on Thursday nights. But the Lady Bearettes, they took care of the Lady Canes 74-31 in getting their 39th region title. So, East Hamilton having a good time as well. The Canes, doing well, the second best team in District 5 AAA, and they went to reach for that 2018 state tournament in Murfreesboro, but they had to either beat second-ranked Bradley Central or top-ranked and two-time defending champion Riverdale, and they ended up meeting up with Bradley Central and ended up going down. Bradley Central is 31-0 on the season, and they took care of business over at Ray County High School, and took care of business, and is continuing that unbeaten streak, if I can talk right. Now Bradley Central goes into sectionals at 31-0. They'll take on Blackman, who's 18-14, on Saturday at 3 p.m. at Smitty Arena in Cleveland. Blackman lost to Riverdale 70-47 in the Region 4 AAA title game. East Hamilton, 26-6, travels to Murfreesboro to face Riverdale 32-1. That lone loss was to Mitty out of California in the night tournament in Gilbert, Arizona back in December. And both of those games start at 7 p.m. local time. Ryan Howard, again, leading the way for Bradley Central with 19 points and her extended stat line, including 7 rebounds, 7 steals, 5 assists, and 2 block shots. And she was named the tournament's most valuable player and joined the all-tournament team by Jamarin Blair, Cambry Mayo, and Anna Walker, and now has 2,447 career points and moved ahead of Brittany Jackson in the 5th place on the school's all-time scoring list. She needs 4 more points to eclipse number 4 Jody Adams at 2,450 points and 9 to surpass number 3 Zandra Ownby with 2,455. So, it will be interesting to see how Bradley Central does in their continued quest for that state title. So good luck to the Bearettes in their quest in doing that. All right. Of course, you can always call in at 423-800-8949, 423-800-8949. And hello there to our various viewers on Facebook Live and also on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Different camera there. It's interesting to see all the various viewers that are checking in on that. And the Clutch with Keon Rose, it'll be back with you on Monday night, but Keon will be here in studio with Russell Stroud coming up after the news at 8 o'clock with 2 millennials talking. NASCAR season, let me look here. I know they're out west. And it will be the Pennzoil 400 out at Las Vegas. They were in Atlanta last weekend, and Kevin Harvick taking care of business there in the number 4. And Monday night, had the pleasure of being over at the Greater Chattanooga Sports Hall of Fame. One of the inductees in the auto racing division was Dale McDowell. He's one of the owners of Boyd Speedway, just over the line over there in Ringgold. And one of the interesting things that Dale McDowell does, he has a driving school and he's trained a lot of drivers. But the one interesting fact that was made known during the banquet and induction ceremony was Dale was a driver trainer for the first 2 winners of this year's NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series. Austin Dillon in the number 3 Chevrolet, and Kevin Harvick in the number 4 car for Stewart-Haas Racing. So it's interesting that Dale McDowell has that association that he trained those drivers how to drive race cars, and he's a local Chattanooga area fixture. and is also a new inductee into the Greater Chattanooga Sports Hall of Fame. That's pretty awesome in itself. So make sure you tune in for racing action this Sunday at 2:30 p.m. through the facilities of the Performance Racing Network for NASCAR racing here on Nooga Radio. And if you'd like to be a part of NASCAR, if you have a business out there, you can contact us here at 423-497-2407, and we'll get you hooked up with one of our many account executives that will get you in the right package for your business. Also, let's see here. We mentioned about Chattanooga Eagles. We'll be back on the air with them on April 21st. It will be the last exhibition game of this year for the Eagles as they prepare to enter into the 2018 season in the Gridiron Development Football League, one of the nation's premier semi-pro football leagues that are out there. And we noticed that taking on regional teams from Nashville and also over Knoxville and Huntsville, they are in the division with the Eagles. So, they eventually want to win that Western Division championship again, like they did in their inaugural season this past year, and move on and try to win the national championship game where they fell short last year with the Oklahoma Thunder. So, they've got that renewed passion. They got to work on a few things, with the last Saturday's game against the Dalton Danger. And we want to wish the Danger the best of luck in their upcoming season in their league and the IAFL. And hopefully they will have a great time as well. So, but the Chattanooga Eagles are looking forward to having a good season, and hopefully that will be the case, and we'll be following them into the playoffs as well. But first, we'll get the regular season underway as well. Keon normally talks about the NCAA a little bit more in depth, as well as the other professional leagues like the NFL and the NBA and so forth. And a lot of basketball getting underway with tournament time. Like tonight, the women Mocs basketball team taking on UNCG in the first round of the SoCon tournament over in Asheville, North Carolina. Tomorrow night, Coach Lamont Paris and the men's Mocs team will be taking on now it just totally slipped my mind. Samford. That's tomorrow night, and that game time is set for 7:30. So it will be interesting to see whether the women's Mocs team tonight can fare well, even without the services of Kiana Gilbert, who has been one of their workhorses all season long, and no one really truly knows how long she will be out. But Nat Dixon on the men's side, is going to be glad to see Rodney Chapman be back in the lineup. He is in the probable starters for tomorrow night's contest. They were leaving earlier today from downtown Chattanooga, heading over to Asheville and making sure that they get the proper rest and everything as they get ready for that contest tomorrow night. But the women's team had left yesterday to head for Asheville. So best of luck to both the men's and women's Mocs basketball team. And of course, spring football is already underway with the Mocs football program. Coach Tom Arth and his staff are getting everything together and working on spring drills. And then eventually we'll have the spring game where it will be interesting to see how well these preseason workouts are turning out for them. So best of luck to the Mocs there. Baseball, softball season is already underway on the high school ranks, as well as with, it will be as of today, baseball action getting underway. And tomorrow there'll be games going on as well. But even with the colleges, Chattanooga State, Dalton State, Covenant, Lee, UTC, of course, all the area colleges, they're already getting underway. Covenant has been doing okay, and they are, having a good time. They've had some field issues as far as because of the weather and everything, and that's understandable, and probably haven't had too many games here the last couple of days because of all the torrential downpours. I know I was listening to Patrick Core during the 6 p.m. newscast and everything, simulcast we have with News 12 now, and they were saying some areas got as much as 6 inches of rain. Sometimes you just kind of felt like that was definitely the case, the way it was raining here, but so that will have some impact, on the games in our area and everything, but they will get those made up and everything, and college baseball and softball will continue on as never before. All right, 423-800-8949 is the phone number call. If you would like to speak on a particular subject here on Sports Talk with Sam Jordan here on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, 95.3 FM HD4. Dalton State, while we're talking about some of the colleges, Roadrunners put 3 on their all-conference team in men's basketball year-end awards that were announced Wednesday evening. Troy Salvant was named as Player of the Year, and Steve Knight was named the Coach of the Year. And Salvin averaged 16.3 points per game, 2 rebounds per game, and 1.4 assists per game for the top-seeded Crusaders, including scoring 18.7 per game in conference play. Camellia Simmons averaged 11 for the Roadrunners. And let's see here. And that was with the Southern States Athletic Conference Men's Basketball Year-End Awards that were announced Wednesday evening. Let's see here. Anybody else? Simmons, along with Isaac Edmondson and Nick Parker, first-team honorees for the second straight year, while Salvin and Logan Joswiak earned first-team honors after being second-team honorees last season. Coach of the Year and Steve Knights from William Carey out of Mississippi. Trying to take a look here. Newcomers of the year was Tony Wright out of Mobile, Alabama. Co-freshman of the year is Aaron Barres out of Dalton State, along with Terry Smith Jr. out of Loyola of Louisiana. Defensive Player of the Year, Camellia Simmons out of Dalton State in Georgia. Sportsmanship Award went to Loyola, Louisiana. First team all-conference, Camellia Simmons from Dalton State, a senior forward out of Atlanta, Georgia. Reed Dungan, also out of Dalton State, senior at guard out of Powder Springs, Georgia. Let's see, trying to scan down here through this. Darrell White out of Middle Georgia State was also selected on that team as well. And many others from Loyola and Faulkner and William Carey that made the list. Also, Isaiah Box out of Dalton State, a senior guard out of Rockford, Illinois, making the list. DeMichael Ross out of Bruton Parker, Georgia, senior forward out of Kennesaw, Georgia, making the list. Rashawn Maline out of Middle Georgia State, senior forward guard, making it. He's from Milledgeville, Georgia. And let's see here. As we mentioned, Aaron Barres out of Dalton State, Georgia, making the selection as well as a freshman at forward out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And many, many other great honorees as well. So congratulations to the Roadrunners and putting their all-conference, putting 3 of them on the list. So it's good to see Dalton State picking up some accolades with their basketball program in the Southern States Athletic Conference awards that were given out last night. All right, 800-8949, 423-800-8949. Call us up. Let's talk a little sports here on Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. And as we said, high school basketball action, Red Bank and Tyner already underway, and high school basketball action. I believe that game is over at Red Bank as we speak, and hopefully we'll have a report on that here tomorrow on our sports updates as well. So make sure you tune in for that. And as we said, UTC in action tonight. In fact, should be underway with the women's MOX program taking on UNCG, otherwise known as University of North Carolina Greensboro, which they've had a pretty good play against each other. So hopefully the MOX women's program will do well tonight against them so they can advance into the tournament even further. If they win tonight, I believe they play Saturday against a team working their way up the ladder and everything in the tournament. It's a one-and-done type of deal. So the best team wins, advances. And then the MOX in action tomorrow night, the men's team against Samford. The MOX men's team is ranked 10th and Samford ranked 7th in the SoCon tourney. And so both teams have split their regular season series against each other. So it will be interesting to see who wins that battle tomorrow night. All right. Tennessee, they've been a surprise here lately in college basketball action, and taking a look at the standings there, the men's team, not so great. They've had some close ones, but Tennessee's 0-8. I'm looking at the wrong. I need to look at basketball, not football. Yes, we know all about the football program, but let me switch gears here for a second and get over to the right sport. But the Tennessee Vols under head coach Rick Barnes, actually has been doing pretty good, and hopefully we'll be able to have a lot to talk about. While we're talking football, the Vols hired Heisman winner Chris Wanke to coach the running backs, and he was with the Rams. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he had played with the St. Louis Rams, and but the Vols have hired him to be a running backs coach for the Tennessee Vols, according to reports. And Robert Gillespie, who had been in there for quite some time, especially with Coach Butch Jones, he was like a holdover, actually was edged out, and thus having the opening that came up. And Chris Wanke, the former Heisman Trophy winner from several years ago, stepping into that job. All right. That's a wrap, I guess, on Sports Talk with Sam Jordan here on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, as our camera goes wacky and goes to the side. But that is it. Two Millennials Talking coming up next here on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, 95.3 FM HD4. Until tomorrow, have a great evening.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7